I recently got every single achievement in Cult of the Lamb, including all 3 expansions for a total of 48 achievements. From building my very own cult full of loyal followers, to beating a brutal boss rush facing off against every boss and mini-boss without dying, Cult of the Lamb blends road-like combat and base building incredibly well, keeping me hooked the entire time on my path to godhood. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Upon starting a new game, I immediately sacrificed by some ugly creature things against my will in order to stop the prophecy and preserve the old faith. Fortunately for me, upon dying I was saved by the one who awaits, who tasked me with starting a cult in their name, which earns the first achievement of Deal with the Devil. After being sent back to the world of the living and beating up a couple of enemy cultists, I met Ratau, who guided us to a safe location where we began my new cult by indoctrinating my first devotee and earning the achievement First Follower. After gathering a bit of wood and stone for materials, as well as berries to cook to feed my followers, I went on my first crusade into Darkwood in order to gather more followers, as well as make some money by defeating enemies. Along the way, I found the first tarot card room, which serves as a way to gain power or resources while crusading, though they do not carry over between runs similar to most roguelikes, and at the end of the crusade I faced off and defeated the first mini-boss, simultaneously earning the Death to Non-Believers achievement and gaining another follower. Upon returning back to the cult, I built a shrine where followers can pray in order to gain devotion that I can use in order to unlock upgrades for the cult, as well as a temple where I performed my first sermon, earning the Preacher of Truth achievement. Giving a sermon also gives faith, which is where you earn the permanent weapon/crusade upgrades. This is where the game kind of opens up, and I'm tasked with continuing to crusade into the lands of the Old Faith in order to defeat the 4 bishops who were the ones presiding over my execution at the very start of the game. Each bishop is in its own zone, with Leshy being the first in Darkwood, and has 3 mini-bosses that need to be defeated before you can face off against them, resulting in 4 crusades needed per zone, assuming you don't die during one of the crusades and have to restart. Continuing on with my crusade against Leshy, I was able to gain 5 followers, earning the Flock Rose achievement. I also unlocked the ability to have doctrines given by finding commandment stone fragments, which are used to unlock doctrines and rituals. Rituals vary from being able to make your followers not have to worry about hunger for a few days, to sacrificing a follower in order to speed up your upgrade progress. But our first ritual was just increasing the faith of our followers, and upon performing it unlocked the Crosser of Threshold achievement. I also took a little side trip in between crusades to go beat Ratau at a dice game called Knucklebones, earning Game of Chance. While on my crusades, I previously also ran into the Fisherman and unlocked the Pilgrim's Passage area. I visited the lighthouse there, donated some lumber to earn Bringer of Light, and then passed a bit of time by fishing. Going back onto the crusades, I defeated Leshy, who was pretty much a pushover and just a bigger version of his mini-bosses, earning See No Evil. At this point, my cult was coming along nicely at level 2, with 7 followers as well as a nice little farm growing berries in order to feed everyone. One of my followers then asked if I could return to Darkwood and save their sibling. Being the benevolent cult leader that I am, I went and did not realize that after defeating the boss, all enemies get stronger. So I died, and out of spite, I sacrificed the follower that asked if I could go back there, and then received Sacrificial Beast. Setting my sights back onto the bishops, the next was Teket, a big red frog living in Anura, where a majority of the enemies were frogs themselves. After a few crusades in Anura, I picked up 10 followers, and also was able to upgrade my cult to level 4. I also found this weird creature in chains who had relics which were usually just powerful effects that had to be recharged, such as freezing all enemies including bosses, or generating another heart, and etc. Within Anura, I also found the mushroom Sozo, who seems to be addicted to mushrooms and sends me on a quest of getting even more mushrooms. Upon reaching Heket, I figured they would be a pushover just like Leshy, but the stupid frog and his flies were able to kill me twice before I was able to defeat them for Speak No Evil. Moving on to the next bishop was Calamar, residing over in Inkerdeep. This is where the crusades were getting a bit tougher, so I had to make use of the heretic ability, the Hunger, Heretic ability is abilities unlocked after defeating a bishop, which upon eating a meal would give me an extra heart. What I found out though was that by being a cannibal, I could actually gain 2 hearts, so from then on, that was my go-to meal. By fishing and giving mushrooms to Sozo, I was also able to get enough holy talismans that I could get Fleece of the Fleets. This fleece makes it so you start out with 4 tarot cards immediately on Crusade start, but you can't get any more. I found this trade-off to work out fine, as it allowed me to breeze through the normal rooms in order to get to the bosses faster. Also at this point I had done enough sermons and sacrifices in between crusades that I was able to unlock all weapons and also built a confession booth, which increases the loyalty of a follower quite a bit once per day. I also found the smuggler Plumbo, who is not happy with me defeating the bishops and demands that I go back to zones I previously killed in order to receive witness eyes, which would then be rewarded by getting more talismans for future fleeces. Now on to Calamar. They're actually quite a fun boss and definitely the one I found to be the most challenging in the entire game. It took me multiple times before I was able to beat them, but doing so actually felt pretty satisfying. After Calamar there was the last bishop Shimura, residing in Silk Cradle, which I actually found to be a pretty easy zone compared to Anchor Deep. By unlocking Silk Cradle, I also was able to find the 5th zone, Midas's Cave, required for Leader of the Crusade achievement. It also allowed me to defeat the 4th Knucklebones opponent, earning Master of Chance. At this point, my cult was also pretty automated now at around 16 followers, with building to generate lumber, stone, and farm without my input. We're all set up and we're working pretty well. So I went ahead and sacrificed my 10th follower, which gave me Weigher of Souls, which also gave me enough to be able to unlock all curses as well as unlocking the mechanic Sin. Sin is a new bar for each follower similar to Loyalty, but it's used for a lot more late game stuff, so I'll come back to that later. Bishop Shimura was super easy compared to Calamar, thus ending my crusades in the lands of the Old Faith. To proceed, I was required to gather 20 followers, and then I reunited with the One Who Waits, who now asked me to sacrifice myself so that they could be freed. I obviously declined and faced off against them. The One Who Waits is actually a 4-phase boss, different from all the other ones in the game, but each phase doesn't really have that much health, so although it was a cool fight, it wasn't that much of a challenge. At the end of the fight, I spared the One Who Waits and was able to indoctrinate them into the cult, making them my immortal follower. We then met who tasked us with going back into all of the zones in order to refight the bishops to recruit them into our cult, while also unlocking a new currency called God Tiers. God Tiers is basically just a currency to get the majority of the unlocks like fleeces, tarot cards, and follower skins, which are all needed in order for me to get every achievement. Prior to heading back into Darkwood to refight Leshy, I finally unlocked the final doctrine, and also had fish enough to gain the achievement for fishing one of every type of fish. I also got the Fleece of a Cursed Crusade, which is honestly pretty broken. It makes it so you can basically spam curses, and while some curses are just not very good, a couple of them, like Hounds of Fate, which are basically hate-seeking missiles, and Divine Guardian, which gives invulnerability, which also reflects projectiles, and those projectiles just delete bosses, are basically just free wins if you ever get them. While going back receding into all of these zones and rebeating all of the bishops in order to recruit them, I earned 666 coins and also ran into Midas again, who just kept robbing me of my coins. Luckily, once you reach them in Silk Cradle, you're able to beat them up, which gives you your money back and then also gives the achievement shakedown. After beating Shimura again, for some reason I wasn't able to recruit them in the cult, but when I went to !, who I also renamed to ! As I couldn't think of anything else, the credits rolled, and after reloading the save, I was able to recruit Shimura and earn Leader of Leaders. Now it was time for the no-hit achievements. My strategy for this was equip the Fleece of the Berserker, which increased weapon damage by 10 times and makes you die in one hit, which is perfect, as if I got hit I would fail the achievement anyways. Also, a quick trick is that in the zones, if you destroy the statues with a red X, the portal opens up and you can go straight to the boss, skipping all of the rooms. Now, honestly, Leshy, Heket, and Shimura were all super easy to get the no-hit, but Calamar once again proved to be my main adversary, as I died quite a few times to their bullet spamming, combined with me just being super greedy and hitting when I should have backed off. But once I got patient, I was able to get the no-hit for Calamar as well. With only filler achievements remaining, I went and continued Sozo's quest until you find him seemingly dead and receive a seed. After planting the seed, eventually Sozo comes out and asks if we can get Mushroommo from Anura. I did it, but then to my horror, Sozo ate Mushroommo and then had the nerve to ask me to go save another one. I declined, and after arresting him to pacify and redoctrine, it turns out they were a doctor a whole time and not a mushroom, which gave me the regenerate achievement. Following that, unlocked the remaining tarot cards I needed for the achievement from various shops and the Tears of Gods, and then set my sights on Purgatory for the Slayer of Souls achievement. This mode can only be entered once a day, but time in the cult does not pass while you're in Purgatory. For Slayer of Souls, you have to beat an entire row of either the Dungeon Gauntlet or boss rush of a single fleece. I chose to do the Cursed Crusade fleece since it's pretty broken, and I opted for boss rush since I thought that would be faster. I ended up having to face every single boss and mini boss in the game in a row, including the one who waits without dying multiple times, which is pretty insane if you think about it. Luckily, the Cursed Crusader is so broken that I was able to beat all 6 stages pretty easily, only dying on the 3rd stage twice, and that one is bishops only, so if you start out with the bad curse, you just get pretty unlucky because you cannot change it ever. Doing Purgatory was also a pretty decent way of getting god tiers, which I turned in to get more talisman pieces, follower skins, and ended up getting the light and dark necklaces needed in order to do the True Love achievement. After getting the necklaces, I went to a random follower, gifted them the light necklace, and sacrificed them in order to summon Ball, who is one of the followers that I fought as one of the phases and the one who waits fight. After waiting for the sacrifice ritual cooldown, I gifted the dark necklace to another follower and sacrificed them as well to summon Aim, the other follower of the one who waits. With both of them in my cult, I turned them both into demons and proceeded to take them onto a crusade, where I went to the cat lady shop and reunited them with their mother, thus earning the True Love achievement and also receiving 2 relics. Most relics I unlocked with god tiers or completing different quests, but for the follow-on I had to butcher 5 follower bodies, earning relics of the old faith. I now needed to start farming Sin a lot more seriously for their remaining unlocks, such as upgrading the temple and then the final fleece. So my methods were just using the ceremonial drum, which has a cooldown, but always gives 1 sin. Combining that with the confessional boost sin doctrine, which gives about 75% of a follower sin bar a day, and then doing the lust and wrath rituals, and picking someone for the sinner's pride ritual would generate multiple sin, but then would damn the follower where I could find them in a crusade, and beat them up to get another sin. This farm was hands down the longest in the game, but eventually I was able to finish upgrading the temple for Aesthetics of the Lamb, and gather 10 more sin for the final fleece. With the remaining sin I was generating, I used them to have followers breed in the hopes of getting a golden egg, which would contain follower forms that I would need for that achievement. I ended up needing a total of 8 eggs in order to get the 3 golden eggs, and after hatching 5 for the achievement, I just cracked the remaining ones. In between waiting for sin to generate, I was going on crusades in order to find the lore rooms. In order to get all of the lore needed for the achievement, you have to find 10 hidden rooms, 3 rooms filled with graves that you have to exhume, and then Monch's room and the meat room for the last 2. The hidden rooms are found when crusading and are marked by hard-to-see statues that, upon activating, open another path not shown on the map, and for the meat room, I found it spawned the most when running in Anura, and then both Monch's room and the grave rooms are just question marks on the adventure map, so they're just RNG. After getting all of the lore, I received Holder of History. I also finally got enough followers to level 10 to earn Apostles for having 12 disciples. All that was left was unlocking the outfits, which the vast majority unlocked by being bought from the clothing store, but there are a few unique ones with special requirements. These include performing the Rite of Lust 5 times, having the same follower confess 5 times, performing 3 wedding rituals, cracking 3 eggs, by bringing a Hathor demon into a crusade, cleaning 100 poops, absolving a follower of sin 5 times, serving 30 drinks at the drink house, crafting 25 outfits, and performing 3 fight rituals. With the outfits done, all that remained was the follower skins. Most follower skins I unlocked with god tiers, but there were a few received only by quests. One would be by going to each map location during the night and accepting the red fox deals for the wolf skin. Another was going and beating up a snail and then praying at the shrine blueprint it dropped. After getting all of those, and then since I had done the golden egg ones earlier, all that remained was the god tier ones. Luckily, my cult was generating devotion pretty quickly, and the bar is filling up within a few seconds, so I just stood there for a few minutes until I had enough to go gamble. Finally, I got lucky on my last god tier, and received the final follower skin I needed for that achievement, as well as earning the Godhead achievement for earning every other achievement in the game. If you have watched this far, then thank you. I truly appreciate it. Please let me know what you think of this video's format, if it's too short, too long, etc. Any feedback at all would be greatly appreciated. Now I know last video I said my next video would be 9 Souls, and I still will be playing that. I just randomly had the urge to play Cult of the Lambs, and it's been sitting in my Steam library for years now. Unfortunately, 9 Souls will probably be a while away, as my next video will definitely be on the upcoming monster of a game that is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which I am super looking forward to. In any case, thank you all for watching, and hope you have a great rest of your day.